So, quick story time, guys. So I used to work at a indoor playground, right? And this was like in the mall, and kids would come in, they'd bring the parents would bring their kids, and they would be able to play for a certain amount of time. We come back, right? Everything was good, but and I worked specifically as kind of like the gate guy, because to go into the playground, right, the parent and the child needs to go in, right? Because the parent is responsible for supervising the child. Makes sense. Well, not for everyone, right? So there was this one day when I went into work, and I was at the gate, right? And this one parent, they just really didn't want to follow the rules. Now, they were having a bad day, I imagine. I get it, right? But so what happened was that we let the kids in, and the parent was like, oh, I'll just get ready here, and then I'll go inside, right? So, it's like 1-2 minutes, it's not a big deal. Right? So I say, okay, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 minutes go by, and I'm still talking to the parent like, listen, you need to go inside to supervise your child, because we are not responsible. And if anything happens, it's going to be on you, but you need to supervise your child inside past that gate, right? And you could kind of see, or you could imagine like a fuse on that parent's head, just kind of going down every single time I went up and talked to her. I'm like, listen, you need to go in. And I'm like, I'm doing this because A, that's part of my job, but B, it's actually a safety concern. If your kid starts banging their head against a wall, yeah, we will kind of try to help, but you want to make sure your kid is safe, right? And I asked one more time, I'm like, ma'am, you need to go inside and supervise your child. And you could just imagine like a volcano just erupting, and her face just goes red, and it's just like, what? I don't remember exactly what happened, but she was just spewing off like blah 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 blah, like, dude, I don't need to listen to you, blah 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 blah. And in that moment, I had so many things I wanted to say. A lot of things would have got me fired at that moment, but she was spouting off insults to me, for my coworkers, right? And I had a lot of things I wanted to say to, kind of calm the situation down. But in that moment, in that specific moment, it was nothing. No words, no sounds, nothing. The only thing I did in that situation was she was just berating me, just look down. I looked down at my ground because I was scared, right? I was scared. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? And this is not like somebody who is like physically bigger than me. I'm a pretty big guy, but this was just somebody who was just angry. You could almost taste the anger in the air, right? And it was crazy because my eyes were down. I didn't say a single word. And one of my higher ups, or my supervisors, came and kind of de-escalated the situation. But I remember I went back home that night, and I had never been so disappointed, so ashamed, so regretful of something happening in my life. Like, somebody just disrespected me, yes, but the people who I'm working with. And all I did in that moment, because I was just a little afraid to, stand up for myself and the people I care about, is look down and did nothing. And from that point on, I made it my mission, my journey, to be like, listen, I am not going to live a life where I'm just pleasing people just for the sake of pleasing people. I'm not going to do it at the expense of myself, and certainly not at the expense of the people I care about. And that is a bit of a long-winded introduction to kind of what I wanted to talk about, why you should kind of stop pleasing people. Don't get any weird ideas, but stop pleasing people at the expense of yourself, right? And I'll kind of go into that. So the first point I kind of wanted to make, and the reason why I feel like it's incredibly important to not be pleasing people just for the sake of it, is that you are lying to yourself first and foremost. Now, everyone lies. I think that's a fair assumption. I probably lied a couple times today. But the most important thing about lying, and why it's so dangerous, is that you can lie to other people. Sure, that's bad, but they may or may not know. But if you lie to yourself, if you tell yourself something that you know is not true, you are going to be sitting with that feeling for the rest of your life, because you know what you said, you know what you did, you know what you tried to do was not true to yourself, so you know that's an issue. I'll give you a perfect example, right? You're studying for your final exams, you're locked in the library, you're study, right? And perhaps your friends, they had their exams a bit earlier, or they're in a different program, whatever it may be, right? And, they say like, hey, let's go out to get some drinks, or let's go out to go bowling, or let's go to the arcade or something like that. And, you don't really want to go, but, it's a good group of friends, and, you don't want to say no, you're going to kill the mood and blah, 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 blah. So you say you go, right? You go. And it happens the next day and the next day, maybe with a different group of friends, or it's a different thing. But you keep saying yes to things that you really should be saying no to. And I think that's a really big issue. I struggle with it quite a lot, where I'm just that yes man. Like, they say anything, like there's this funny story, and I'm not sure if my friend's watching. It happened where I was coming back from an event, and I was like, I kind of wanted to go to sleep. And this was a small town, right? I saw my friend on the side of the road, and I said, I waved at him, oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, do you want to go to the bar? And within 2 seconds, I'm out of the car from going back home to the bar with my friends. Now, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I wanted to go, but it kind of illustrates to you that if you keep saying yes, you may not learn how to say no. You may not be able to say no. And I think that's an incredibly important skill, because when you say no, you're able to kind of follow what you know is right and not get swept away with the flow, right? So I think that's an incredibly important skill to learn. Now, secondly, when you kind of live life just pleasing others, kind of doing what other people say, weird things starts to happen. And instead of life kind of happening for you, the things like in your life happening for you, life starts happening to you. And what I mean by that is that you are no longer the driver or the main pilot in your life, right? You kind of just start doing whatever anyone else says. And at that point, I think there's a real argument to be made of whether or not you are even living your own life, right? If somebody, the only thing that you can say is yes to people's plans, and you can't make your own decisions on your own, I think that's a real big problem, because you kind of lose that individuality. You kind of lose that ability to be able to say, hey, I don't think this is right, or this does not align with my values, so I'm not going to do it. You kind of lose that, and it's just like, if somebody says something to do, you just kind of have to fold. And really, that just makes you more or less a slave to the people around you, right? The people around you should be supporting you. You should be becoming better with the people around you, not just the fact that you're just listening blindlessly to what they're going to say, right? For example, like the people who are in your life who you respect, perhaps your parents, your teachers, your colleagues, right? Their opinions are valid. Yes, their opinions are important. Absolutely. But their opinions is not God. Their opinions are not, like scripture. You don't need yes, if your parents say, hey, you need to do this, you take it into your brain, but you don't just follow blindly, right? Maybe when you were a kid, that was what happened. And maybe that's why a lot of us are like this way. Myself included. I would say I was the yes man for a very long period of time. But you got to start thinking for yourself, right? Like, you can't just have somebody else drive your life, because then what's the point of living your life if you're not going to make your own decisions? I'm not saying to just jump off a bridge, no, but I'm saying that hey, if you really think that you have something to offer, something you think that you're unique in some way, then why are you letting other people kind of telling you what to do and what to live, right? How to live your life, right? So I think that's important in that aspect as well. Now, the last thing, and I'll bring it back to my story, and the reason why you really should stop pleasing people, and I think this is the most important reason, is that you are going to regret it so much that if it doesn't piss you off, then there might be something wrong. I'll just put it like that, right? I remember, as I was saying, I was so angry when that happened, when that customer talked to me in that way and I did not say anything. I was so angry because it has happened before. It will happen again, but it was so just infuriating to me, because I knew what to say, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I talk to myself a lot. And situations may happen in day-to-day life that I am not happy with. And I can talk to them perfectly fine. I know exactly what to say. And it's like, it's like, it just comes off immediately. But in the moment, it's so difficult to say. And I understand that, right? Because, you're afraid, you're fearful, you don't want to be judged. But I'd argue that the feeling of like whatever you say just coming out of your mouth is much better than not saying anything at all. And to regret that moment, just to regret the fact that you did not say anything, that is just the worst feeling. Because like, when you're just like, everything's like, nearing the end of your life and whatnot, and you're surrounded by family, do you really think you're gonna be like mad that you said something that like, oh, you stood up for yourself? Like, obviously, I'm not going to say that you know all the details. You might stand up for yourself and you might be like, you might have been wrong, right? But at least stand by what you say. Don't just fucking like, just ran over like a damn dog and be like, oh my God, yeah, I mean, they must be right because they're speaking in a louder tone and they look more angry. Come on now, like that's bullshit. Like, and I'm saying that to you, yes, whoever's watching, but I'm saying that to me because like, you gotta realize, like, if you just fucking take what people say at face value and you just say, okay, they must be right, then like, what are we doing? Come on, like, what are we doing? Anyways, let's finish up this video. Now, I know you might be thinking, like, oh my God, if I keep saying no to people, like, you stop being like a yes man, you stop pleasing them. No. Aren't people gonna hate me? And to that, I say no. Not as a joke, but to be saying that, well, people are not going to hate you, and rather, people are going to respect you more because you're able to be like, hey, you actually have your own opinions, you can stand by your own opinions, and you don't really care what other people say. And people want that. People want what they can't have. And a lot of people do not have that quality of being able to express their opinions without being so worried about what people will say, right? So when people see you actually just being honest with yourself and like, hey, I actually don't want to go out today, and it's not because you're not making some bullshit excuse of, oh, my dog fucking ate my homework, therefore I can't go out. No, you're like, listen, I don't want to go out today because I have to study, and this is more important right now. Done. You don't need to give excuses. You don't need to be like, oh, I'll come out. No, this is why. Done. And when people see that, they're like, wow, this person, A, values things other than the opinions of the other people, and B, can make their own decisions. Do you know how rare that is today? You know how rare it is? Like, I swear to God, you can see like, it's like, I don't know what it's called. Like, it's called a group theory or something like that, where everyone makes a choice and it's just like, you know it's wrong, but it's like everyone's doing that one thing. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that people will respect you. And the people who don't, the people who get angry for you, like about you, for making your own decisions, just take a second, just take a second and think, aren't these the people you really want to be interacting with, right? Are these people that you want to be surrounding yourself with? People who don't encourage like unique thinking? People who want you to think just like everyone else? Just think about that. And if you come to the same conclusion I am, you're like, well, shit, one of these people, like, why are we surrounding ourselves with people who do not want us to, grow as an individual? Why are we surrounding ourselves with people who want to drag us, people who are trying to become more whole, trying to improve our lives, drag us down to the same level that, everyone else is, right? So I think that really just wraps it up. I really think this is a video for myself, but a video for other people. Like, you got to stop pleasing other people and just start living your own life. I think that's incredibly important and will help you in almost all facets of life. But yeah, I tried. This is the end of the video, so I'm not sure if everyone's going to watch, but I tried writing the script, had a few points I wanted to talk about. And this time I think it went really well. So I think I'm going to continue doing that because it helps me stay on topic and deliver information. and helps me just be able to talk to you guys a bit more freely and with a bit more confidence because I know what I'm going to talk about. So yeah, until the next one, guys.